Hey, all right, it's time for a beer. And I do have an Irish Stout. There we go. So, it's also time to make a beer. I've decided to make a Pilsner beer, and I'm going to call it my Mardi Gras Pilsner since next Tuesday is Mardi Gras. Now, how I'm going to make that beer, use the Coopers Pilsener. I'm going to use a kilogram of dry malt extract, which is 2 of these 500 grams. And I'm going to use an ounce of Saaz hops for extra flavor. So let's get right to it. Okay, so there's the back of the Pilsner yeast. It has a production date or a Julian date on it. 25710 would be the 257th date of 2010. And it has the P, which indicates a Pilsner yeast. Okay, next step, adding the dry malt extract to the, I'm only going to add a ½ kilo to the pot. And the directions say, Coopers Light Dry Malt Extract is very fine powder. Avoid clumping. Place into the fermenter. First add 1 to 2 liters of hot water and swirl the contents until dissolved. Okay? Do not stir with a spoon. So right now, I'm actually going to add it to the pot so I can add my hops for flavoring. And then I'll the other kilo I'll add to the fermenter, and then I'll add this water to it. There's not a whole lot of clumping going on right now. I guess swirling. Whoops, swirling does work better, but you also can spill a lot on your line here. Okay. The fermenter is high enough where you wouldn't need, yeah, there we are. So we're pretty much dissolved completely right here. You can see. No clumps. Okay. So I need to wait till that reaches boiling temperature, and then I'll add the 1 ounce of Saaz hops. And then I'm going to boil it for 5 to 10 minutes. Just get a little extra Saaz flavoring into this Pilsner, I'm sorry. The Pilsner needs to be fermented for a long time. I'll be, not fermented, aged for a long time, stored. That's what a lager does. I'm going to try and bring the temperature down below 60 degrees and keep it for 3 weeks at least before kegging, and then I'll lager it some more in the keg. Very nice smelling hops. Still not boiling yet, but I might drop them in to get it started a little bit. There's some bubbling going on here, so here we are. I'm not using a muslin bag this time because I'm not that concerned. So I'll set my timer for about 8 minutes. There you are. Okay. So while the hops are boiling in the dry malt extract water, I'm going to add the other ½ kilo of dry malt extract to the fermenter. Now, there's nothing else in here right now, so just an empty fermenter. I'm going to add the dry malt in first, and then I'll mix it with that water once it's completed its time. There's about 6 minutes left in that right now. So just dump this in. Like so. Okay. Whew. All right. Okay. So we got 30 seconds left on that, and I am going to get ready to pour my hop dry malt extract and water into the fermenter. There we are. Okay. Okay. Let that go through. Enough. Green mush. Alright, now make sure the dry malt extract gets completely dissolved. You can swirl it around the fermenter. And this is where you do your little Mardi Gras mambo dance. Mardi Gras mambo, right? Because this is going to be my Mardi Gras Pilsner. Mardi Gras is next Tuesday. Won't be ready for it, but I have it in my mind. On my mind. Boy, steamy. Okay, now we just have to pour the beer kit concentrate in. There you go. That's pouring out nice and fast. Okay, let that go about its business. Alright, so most of the can is poured out into the fermenter. Love that. I got my oven mitt on. Just pour a little hot water into the can here so I can get the remaining concentrate out. Still hot. Might want to try another. Okay. Let's stir that up a bit. All out. Alright, so the Pilsner beer, or Pilsner beers in general, are a very light colored beer and have a lot of hop, or are typically a little bit, they have a little bite to it, so don't let the light color fool you. And they, have it, most of the time they use a little Saaz hops, which is what we're doing here. So I'm going to try and get this nice and fermented at cooler temperatures and have a real smooth beer with a lot of bite to it, if you know what I mean. So, alright, so we have it all blended in. Now I just need to add the water up to the 23 liter mark. That's what I'm going to do right now. Just begin this, and then we'll, that's a heavy jug. Almost 10:30 now. Top up a little more water. Okay, so temperature is still a little high to pitch the yeast. We're at 26 Celsius, and this is a lager yeast strain. I mean, it would probably work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to chill it down in this ice bath right here, a swamp cooler. It's a laundry basket filled with water. And I'm going to throw some PET bottles in there that I have frozen in my freezer. In addition, I'll fill up the hydrometer. It's probably a little warm, but you can get a rough estimate on where the gravity reading is. Oops. Okay. There's a lot of sediment from the hops I can see already, and that'll drop to the bottom eventually. That's why I like to use a muslin bag. But you can see this is pulling from the bottom of the fermenter anyway. Alright, so we'll let that sit for a while. We'll get a gravity reading. Just a rough guesstimate around 1.04 for now. I have a feeling it'll change. So, okay, in the meantime, we don't have any yeast in my fermenter yet. I'm going to put it in the swamp cooler. Right here, or looks like I could add a little more water to it, but ice packs. So dump that in. Really bring the temperature down here, and we'll bring it down fairly quickly. So there we are, and once that's cool enough, I'll pitch the yeast and then try and bring the temperature down even lower to 50 in the 50s. So, cheers. Happy brewing.